Okay. So
Om Sadashiva Samrambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. You said that you have a couple of questions, few questions. Can you begin?
yes, okay. The first one is that because I heard Ramji that says, or maybe you also tell it one time, so that experience is consciousness plus a thought, and experience and consciousness is experience minus a thought, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if I did say wrong, but it's I want to know, it's not totally clear because I make you an example. It's okay that no, like, however, I have a pen, I have a thought of a pen, but for example, if I see a car that is passing in front of me and I not have the thought of a car that is passing, that means that I don't have the experience. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
a
You
good
don't.
question.
Yeah, you don't. You have the experience in the mind. The mind, everything happens in the mind. If you can have things in front of you, but if it does not capture your attention, you don't experience it. Just to answer this aspect,
Okay.
this doubt. Okay. So the first thing to understand is that consciousness and experience, they are the same thing in a way. You know, it's, I mean, there are some Upanishadic texts that present them as the synonymous. The only difference is that consciousness, in association with an object, it assumes a relational status called experience. Okay.
Hmm.
Consciousness associated with an object, it becomes, you know, or it develops its relational status called experience. In other words, consciousness plus an object, bang, experience. Okay?
Hmm.
Because consciousness is not really, I mean, to begin with, consciousness is not really an experiencing entity. It requires all the time to have everything lined up, Maya, and then the Jiva with the sense organs and so on. And then in association with Maya and the Jiva, it contacts an object, and then we have experience. So experience is a name to consciousness.
Yeah.
You know, once it associates by the power of mind, associates with an object, and then we may hear our sampradaya say here and there that consciousness plus an object is an experience. The experience minus an object is pure consciousness. Okay.
Consciousness.
Just subtracting, just the reasoning backwards. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, now the thing is, so if you have a thought of something, and then you're gonna experience that object, and a lot of the time we need a thought before this object shows up, you know, in our experience. As I have a cup thought. So I may have a cup thought, and then it goes off and comes, and then sooner or later I go whatever, there are some cups here, and then I get the cup. It began with a thought in here, but somebody presents me the thought of if I don't generate this desire for a cup, and the cup keeps showing up, and I'm not paying attention to it because I'm not really thinking about the cup.
Yeah. Okay.
It becomes an experience
Now I
when it
understand.
really grabs my attention. You understand?
Okay.
So we say that an object is not apart from the thought of the object for that reason. An object of experience, an experienced object is not apart from the thought of the object. The thought of the object is when I really receive the object within my mind. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
What else can we say about this? What else you have some doubt or confusion?
Well,
No.
Yeah.
I just, you know, it's so easy to think about objects as being physical. and like you used the cup as an example.
Mm.
Could you talk a little bit about, object as a emotion or as a feeling?
Yeah.
So, and maybe think about, kind of the same thing, but more, a non-tangible
Yeah.
object.
So
What, what, what
yeah,
is there?
if it is a subjective object, because it's generated by my inner mind, my thoughts, my ideas, my feelings, my emotion, my sensation. So it's self-generated. The jiva generate this subjective world of mental, emotional, and intellectual notions and so on. So if it's self-generated, and then again, we can say that consciousness plus that thought, that inner thought, that inner self-generated thought, it becomes the thought, because every thought has an experience to it, has a feel to it, So when we think about something, if we have an emotion, the same thing, it always gets reduced to a thought, because any objective experience always gets reduced to a thought. I mean, sometimes we have a trouble to put in words what we are feeling, for example, but our minds keep somehow labeling, and framing this experience in a way that we say, wow, I feel like this, I feel like that. So it's self-generated, but it's all related to the mind. It's experienced by the mind, in the mind all the time. The outer objects, the tangible objects, and the inner subtle objects.
And it's just interesting because I agree with that, and I remember I did a study a bit of the Yoga Sutras, and in the sutras really made the connection between thought, um, word, and action.
Mm.
And so actually, it was a progression. So things first occur as a thought,
Yeah.
and then you label them or put words to them, even though you may not articulate them, and then they become actions. And so the point in the discussion we were talking about was really we can identify with the actions. Well, what we can do is we can choose not to take the action. So we can
Yeah.
recognize and become aware that a thought has happened, and
Yeah.
then we put words on it, and then we can choose whether or not we take an action or not too. So it was just the Yoga Sutras kind of talk about this. It made this connection, which for me at the time was huge. And
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking that with Vedanta, it really takes it back even farther. And the thought, and then the consciousness underlying the thought. And so I love this connection, this progression from consciousness to thought to word to action.
Yeah.
And so and for me,
Yeah.
that's just part of my journey was, I studied the sutras, and I'm like, okay, but what's behind the sutras? And that's where Vedanta came in to me.
Yeah, yoga is all about that. It's about self-discipline, self-control. We know that thought which comes from our vasana load, a tendency to think and feel in a certain way, and then we have the power to regulate our words and our actions. So we need to control everything: our words, our verbalization, our actions, our organs of actions, and so on.
So what I'm really, so the point being is that with Vedanta is like going back, and so these things are going to happen. I mean, and yoga tries to attach that, but with Vedanta, we're really kind of getting at to go back to what surfaces as thoughts in the first place, and that's back to discrimination and dispassion, right? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Vedanta it sees the value of self-discipline and self-control and control of our words and deeds and so on, but only as a means to support dispassion and discrimination. All these disciplinary qualities, and the third D, discipline. There are all these disciplinary kind of mental qualities to be developed that's going to support and help and support our dispassion and our discrimination. So it's a means to an end. No, so in yoga, a lot of the time, discipline is an end by itself, because you're going to control your mind and your sense organs and your words, and then you're going to develop a kind of peace, you know. And in Vedanta, we say that this willpower to control is good and it is valid, but it needs to be allied, alliance, you know, allied. Did I say it right? Allied? When you do an alliance? Yeah.
Aligned, yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be in alliance with understanding, with knowledge, you know.
I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just getting into this topic, so I apologize if I could back off. But I'm just thinking that what I just wrote down was, so consciousness, and then leads to thought, thoughts lead to words, words lead to actions, and we have an opportunity to practice just dispassion and discrimination between each step. So from consciousness, then dispassion, discrimination, the thought, then we can just whether or not we go to the next step, we apply discrimination, dispassion, and then go to word to action. So really, we have opportunities, in many levels, if you will.
Yeah, we have different line of defense, you know. So you can discriminate, you can protect yourself on the very, very subtle level of the gunas, the tendencies, and then when you come to a conscious thought, again, you have the possibility to discriminate and discard that thought. But if the thought persists, and then you have the ability to stop the thought to become verbalized. So we have all this line of disciplinary defense, to protect us so that we don't cause the final actions that could bring about a cycle of conflicting karmas that would disturb the mind. So we want to be careful with what therefore we have to be careful with what we desire, what we think, what we say, and what we do. There is a saying, I mean, some of you may remember it better. What your desires, it becomes your thoughts. What your thoughts, they become your words. What your words, they become your actions. What your actions, it becomes your vasanas. What your vasanas, because they become your character, something like that. It fits. It's a loop.
What was the last statement? Vasanas become
your personality, your character, your samskara.
Character.
Yeah.
Oh, personality.
Yeah. So samskaras. Mm-hmm. This is a machine. We are a machine, a self-reinforcing machine. We don't know where it begins because we don't know what comes first, whether it is the egg or the chicken. We will never have an answer to that because time is not a linear kind of thing, it is cyclical. Things exist as potential and then they exist manifested, and then again they go back to potential, they come back to manifest. So all of this, it just goes like that, We can say that, it all began with Ishwara because Ishwara gives us our vasanas. But the jivas are the vasanas manufacturing power plant. We have to produce our vasana actions that are going to create vasanas to supply those vasanas in the system. It's an interesting kind of system.
Arlindo, James talks about by Kahneman, Thinking Fast and Slow. Did you ever read that book?
Say it again? Book. I bought that book. I read a little bit, but I did not really get into that.
Yeah.
It's a practical kind of guide, right?
Right. Well, and he has the system 1 and system 2, and the system 1 is sort of like more automatic, primitive, and response. And system 2 is more the cognitive thinking brain. And I was thinking in terms of Shama and Dhamma, that when Shama is something you can exercise with the thinking, cognitive, sort of rational mind.
Conscious mind, subtle body.
Yeah. And Dhamma seems to me something that you can bring up when the system one just gives you an automatic response to the environment. And then you have to control it.
Yeah, it refers to the causal body and the subtle body.
Right, yeah.
We can somehow have this line of defense coming from our tendencies, our propensities. We already know it. I mean, we can talk to that in terms of guna management as well. You feel the propensities, the tendencies that your mood's coming, and then it's still a little bit unconscious. So you can already do some work at that level, the first line, of regulation or discipline. And then when it comes to the mind, and then we have the power to filter those thoughts that are not of help, no? Those thoughts that are not going to be conducive to our spiritual growth and so on.
So perhaps the disciplines of yoga help you get more sattva so that you use your system, your cognitive thinking rather more often. You're not dragged into those sort of automatic vasana kind of.
Absolutely. So, yeah. You want to filter those rajasic and tamasic tendencies, vasanas, thoughts. As when they become conscious, they are a conscious thought. We need to keep filtering the rajasic ones by nature and the tamasic ones by nature, and nourish the sattvic thoughts. It's all about those three gunas. So in the causal body, we can look at it as the guna management, and then in the mind it is either one of those three gunas kind of thought. And then when we speak, we can speak in a rajasic, tamasic, and sattvic manner as well. And our actions as well are going to be classified in the end as a rajasic, tamasic, or tamasic actions. There are not many, but they are still there. Because the tamasic person does not like to act very much. But there are several actions that are classified in the Gita, the chapter 18. So Lord Krishna goes through, he begins classifying nearly everything on our experience, level of human experience. He begins classifying everything according to the gunas. It's very interesting, very beautiful. Yeah. If you have time, go to the chapter 18.
Okay.
Very interesting.
It struck me before we started the session. Claudio and Karen and I were talking about the current coronavirus, and Claudio mentioned just how he's applying karma yoga to the situation. So, I mean, this is what we're talking about here. Is like karma yoga is a guide or a way to help us with this cycle that we're in of translating consciousness into experience, and how we experience something using karma yoga as a way to practice discrimination and dispassion as well too. What do you think?
Well, I mean, we can, as far as when our prarabdha karmas, this we are dealing with a collective kind of global prarabdha karma, So when we deal with difficult, unfavorable or papa prarabdha karmas, adversities, things like that, we have a tendency to overreact or to be upset, to be angry, to be afraid, to be paralyzed, and all this kind of negative response, and kind of some people begin complaining about others, complaining about God, it's not fair, and so on. So if you remember Karma Yoga, if we have the Karma Yoga teaching alive in our mind, immediately you just resolve that, because it's all Ishvara at play. Ishvara is playing out the prarabdha karma, a planetary prarabdha karma of all beings in this planet, you know, and we know we have the understanding and the full confidence that Ishvara makes no mistake. Therefore, we take whatsoever place, you know, we take with as prasad. We take, okay, so that's how it is. I cannot change the prarabdha karma of my own, much less the prarabdha karma of the whole planet. You know? So I cannot change what is already in here. So the only thing I can change is my attitude, because I became a karma yogi. So now I take things with gratitude. Thank you. There is a connection between what's happening here and our actions. And there is a order here, cause and effect. And if it's happening to all of us, you know, planetarily, collectively like that, it serves a certain purpose that Ishvara knows. And I don't need to know. And the good thing about being a karma yogi is that you relax about trying to know everything. Ishvara knows. So, but what about if I die? So be it. I mean, we are not going to die. The subtle body, the mind does not die. And that which we are as consciousness will never die, because we were never born. So we need to be ready to apply the ultimate understanding of our true nature as well as consciousness. So what? You know, nobody's going to die. I mean, you remember Arjuna in the field at the beginning, chapter 2, having a lot of trouble because he was not accepting his prarabdha karma, having to fight with those people that he did not want to kill. So he's totally freaked out because he's not accepting things as they are. And Krishna is trying to convince him first, you know, from the standpoint of Jnana Yoga, and then later on from the standpoint of Yoga. He tried psychology, he tried social kind of values, he tried everything. But we have these two tools. You know, we understand the field, we understand the laws operating here, we understand that this is a cause and effect, and then we understand that which cannot be changed, and then we understand what we can change. We can only change our behavior, the way we receive this karma, and the way we respond to these karmas with our actions. That's the only thing that is in our hands. So, and then we keep doing our best. So we have this self-love for our existence. Nobody wants to die because life is beautiful. So we want to be alive, and then we follow the rules. And we don't want to panic because fear brings down our immune system. And Claudio, I forgot to tell you last time. So don't be afraid, man. So you're a Vedantine. You're not afraid of whatsoever field is going to present us with, you know. You understand the Lord, you understand the Jiva, the relationship between the Jiva and the Lord and the field. And moreover, you understand that that the truth is that your consciousness alone, your awareness, right? So we use all those teachings, all these understandings, you know, to protect us. So protect from what? From mental perturbation, agitation, fear, and all the negative emotion that go with it, you know. So Sylvia is spending a lot of time alone home. And it's been a blessing in a way because she has never studied so much Vedanta. I'm checking with her nearly 3, 4 times, 5 times a day. And I stay with Vedanta. Don't stay all the time on the TV and then getting all worried. You know, stay with Vedanta. Use this time. There are not many distractions out there. Okay? Stay with it. Keep your mind focused. And then go to the supermarket. Do some more shopping. Boom, buy more of these. You know, I mean, I push her to be aggressive and to store some food, and now relax and start Vedanta. So, what else can we do? We have not. There's nothing we can do to control this situation, and yet everybody has something to do to control our small part. You know, if the authorities say don't leave home because this is the only way we may stop, we prevent this thing from spreading wildly like wildfire. So we stay home. No? We don't do like those kids that they flee. They left Milano in the middle of the night when they heard that they were going to close Milano, and then they took this potential virus to all the south of Italy. You know, no, we don't do that. We just we take responsibility and we follow the rules.
Mm.
Claudio, there was a continuation of your first question. What was the second part of your question?
No, I had at the beginning three different kinds,
Yeah.
three questions.
But
So
they are interconnected, yeah.
Not so much maybe, but okay. The first, if you want, I can tell the second one.
No. Go for the second, yeah. Okay, the first one.
Okay. The first one is okay. Yes. No, the second one was in the the topic of Ishvara that responds to your action. So I know that Ishvara gives you what you deserve, what you need.
Yeah.
Not what you want, not everything that you want.
Yeah, that's a good understanding.
But can we say that potentially the jiva can create everything you want? Potentially, I mean. Because I a little bit in conflict with that, because the topic of the law of attraction, I was a lot of time in the past on that topic, and it's so I have to clear it.
Yeah.
Can we say potentially we
no,
have
the
this power?
jiva does not have that power to attract, to have the life that he dreams about. You know, this is all this delusion. People they deceive others. They make billions or millions of billions selling these ideas from time to time.
Yeah.
Okay. So the jiva, Ishvara responds. I mean, we often say, Ramji often says that Ishvara is the facilitator of karma. Why? Because Ishvara is the system. When we say that, you have to understand Ishvara is the system, okay, that produces this field of actions in which you can work your karmas. And then you act, and then there is a response. You act, and it's all about the stimulus and the response, stimulus and response. So these stimulus and response mechanisms, it keeps going. And you get back things very much in accordance, in alignment with what you put into the system, okay? So it's a fact. But this system is very complex, okay? And it's wide. I mean, the time kind of frame of this field of actions is such that some actions, they don't fructify in the same lifetime. A lot of actions that you may put in the system, they may impact the field, they interact with a lot of other actions from millions or billions of other people, many other factors, and then some of these, they take more than a lifetime to fructify. You understand? So it's not something that you can connect your action with the result of action in a kind of linear equation and very short, you know, time-wise. No, it's something that you put in, and the nature of the actions you're going to bring into the field is going to determine the nature of results that gradually are going to unfold. But we need to know that if I change my life now because I understood Karma Yoga, Dharma Yoga, and Jnana Yoga, and Vipassana Yoga, I have everything, and I'm doing very well. I'm doing all my yogas since 3 years. And then I expect that I only have sattvic kind of prarabdha karmas, beautiful punya karmas, you understand? No, how about the actions that I put into the system before I had this spiritual knowledge clearing, you know, working in my mind and conforming my words and actions before. So there are a lot of those actions that still influence your prarabdha karma. So there is no direct connection in a way that we can control and attract things. But there is an overall understanding, okay, that the results of my actions are linked to my actions. Although the time frame is wide, okay, and the number of factors that are contributing for my prarabdha karma are infinite in numbers, let's say, okay? So there is, on my personal level, there is my actions, and it is in alignment with something that I want on a material level and a spiritual level. And then I'm working hard. I'm doing my Karma Yoga. I'm doing my Jnana Yoga. I'm doing all of that, okay? But just imagine, I'm doing all of that on my personal level. But then your nation goes into war with Iran, let's say. There is a war, a war, okay? So now you are dealing with your personal karma that is being totally how you say overwrite?
Overwhelmed.
Overwritten? Yeah, overwritten by your nation's karma, you understand?
Karma.
Okay, now there is a nation's karma at play. So there are different levels. And then there is a planetary thing, you know, there is a pandemic, and then, you know, who knows what's going to happen. Things can happen on a scale of the planetary karma as well. Okay? There are different factors. The jiva, the individual jiva, is one, and among many other factors that are going to contribute to his destiny. Okay? My destiny, my future depends on my actions, you know, in the sense that the nature of my actions are going to influence and determine more or less the quality of my Prarabdha karma. But I don't have full control, because my actions, my discrimination, that which is going to determine the nature of my action, is only one among many other factors.
Yeah.
Factors that I'm not aware, factors that I don't even know that they exist, you understand? We don't have the power to control just for the sake of getting what I want. And moreover, when we come to Vedanta, we don't want what we really want in terms of those desires, you know, because we understand that all these wantings, all these desires for things to be my way is just hiding my true desire, which is freedom, moksha, you understand? Which is only possible by the means of understanding this spiritual knowledge in its totality, completion. Okay, then you can just forget about the power of attraction. It's all be, you understand? You cannot really attract, although you can. If you are a wise person, a gentle person, a beautiful person, a friendly person, a loving person, you are going to attract similar people. It's nature. You are going to somehow vibrate or feel, and they are going to be attracted. You are not going to be attracting drug dealers and criminals and murderers and so on. So we kind of we gravitate among the people on our same level, but we don't really attract everything as
we want.
Salad. Okay. So what was the last part of your question?
No, it was this. Okay, it's clear. No, it's only because when I heard Ramji says the statement that Ishvara respond to your action, and if Ishvara is like impersonal, I was a little bit confused because I told you, you remember maybe that I'm against the law of attraction. I write my book for against the law of attraction, so I totally convinced about that. But now when in Vedanta I hear that Ishvara responds to your action, I had the doubt to say, okay, but that means that every desire you want, you can realize it? No, it depends on your karma and on the factors of the infinite factors of the world, of the system, of the program. No, so we cannot say that. Okay, now it's clear.
I have to be careful. I mean, language is very limiting, you know, to express knowledge. So we say things here and there that later on have to be brought into context and explained. So Ishvara does not really give us exactly what I want. I mean, one time I heard Swami Dayananda explaining that people, the value of, and this is big, the value of spiritual Vedic rituals. And then people believe, no, they work. There is a science behind it. You have to do it properly. And then you go there, you do your spiritual, religious rituals, and then Ishvara, or the deity, you know, that you are related to, is going to provide you with whatever you want, you know, wealth, prosperity, a children, a wife, and whatever, you know. And then I heard, because I never really bought much into this bargain with the Lord. I know that the Lord may be happy to know that we are bringing him into account at least, you know. But from to say, okay, I'm going to give this to this guy because he's remembering that I exist as the Lord. This never really clicked much in my mind. And then one time I heard Dayananda saying that people do rituals for the sake of getting things that they want to accomplish, but they don't understand that usually they get it when they are not only doing the rituals, but they are doing all the actions that are conducive to the accomplishment of the goals. What it means, I go there and I start doing my actions because I want to achieve my goal, okay? But because I'm a spiritual person, okay, I understand that I need a little help of the Lord because action alone is not enough. There is an infinity of other factors operating. And then in all humility, I go there and say, Lord, I'm doing everything I can. I'm trying to do that for the sake of myself, my family, or my son, or my wife, or whatever, you know, my business. So I'm following them, I'm following your laws, and I know that nothing will happen without your concession, without your facilitation here. Therefore, I pray to you, Lord, and I accept this ritual, you know, help me out because I know that there are many factors beyond my control. I have no control. I only have control over my action, the way I'm going to behave. Okay? So it's a different game. I'm not just doing rituals and then I go home and I sit back and I don't do any action. No, I'm doing actions. The actions are in alignment with my goal, are in alignment with Dharma, and I'm on top of that, I'm invoking Shwara to give my hand. You understand? That's the point.
Okay. Arlindo, did you ever see that movie called War Games?
War Games?
It was about this big supercomputer, and it simulated nuclear war going on, and all the back and forth about missiles flying and everything. And in the end, the computer just gave up. And the line that I remember from that movie is, the only way to win is not to play the game. And I think about that in terms of just, you know, standing as awareness and letting the game go on.
Yeah.
Just,
yeah. Very nice. Very nice. I'm going to look for it. War Game.
Yeah, War Games. Great movie.
Okay. War Game. What was the last part of your question, Claudio? It was more personal. You want to talk about that?
If you want, yes. So the last part, the third question was that I teach to people some mindfulness stuff, and I am a little bit in conflict now because now with all this new Vedantic knowledge, I don't know what to do because I don't know if to go on with this teaching, this mindfulness teaching. I don't know what to do. So I don't know if I have to stop or to continue because now I have, you know, this new knowledge.
Yeah.
And maybe a part of me thinks that is good because some people like it. I don't claim that I am enlightened. I only help people to prepare something, the mind, to prepare the mind, and with my old vision that maybe is not totally clear as Vedanta. Something is interesting, but I don't know now what to do if to stop or to continue.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe that you had a similar experience.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I remember you mentioned to me this in connection to the fact that I stopped doing what I was doing when in contact with Vedanta. But I stopped doing what I was doing because I was doing satsangs, trying to help people to become enlightened or to get self-knowledge. So I was trying to teach people how to get free, but I did not have a proper means of knowledge. I had a lot of notions that I picked up, and it was what was called ignorance. A lot of ignorance mixed up with some piece of knowledge. You understand? That that do not help much. Okay, so when I got in contact with Vedanta, I stopped doing what I was doing because I was trying to sell enlightenment to people. But if that's not the case with you, if you know that you're not trying to give things, sell something to someone saying that this is going to bring about freedom or moksha or enlightenment to you, and then you would be creating some conflict for yourself. You understand? And for others as well, because you are misleading people. So mind becomes more clear about what Vedanta is as your understanding and value of Vedanta grows. And then whatsoever you have been doing to help other people is going to keep changing. Don't be afraid. It's going to be changing. The main thing is stay integral, stay honest with it. And you're going to, again and again, you're going to have to to overcome some temptations of not saying a full truth, not just closing, but you're going to have to say again and again, hey guys, this one serves only the purpose to relax the mind, nothing more. All those big talks to facilitate the sales of my book and my workshops, that things, they have to be redimensioned. I know that from different guys that they are in trouble because they have been selling things here and they pretending more or less that people can be free from those things. And then they get into Vedanta, they get into this conflict. And then I tell them, so just be honest, tell the truth now that you know. Tell the truth. But then does not sell as well. And I need the money. I hope that's not your case. Because
no.
About spirituality is that people want to make a living doing present some spiritual work. And then your income depends on your spiritual work, the one that you sell, and then you're cut. You're never going to tell the full truth once you have come in contact with the truth, So you need to have the transparency to say no. I mean, even if I lose all my clients, even if I lose all the people that are bringing me some income, I'm not going to mislead them, because ignorance is bliss. Before I was ignorant, and then I could mislead people. And now that I'm wiser, I can do certain things, because moreover, I believe in karma yoga. So you have to find this balance, and you don't need to stop doing what you're doing. You just stick to the honesty and and the understanding that yoga is good as a means, not as an end. Any kind of yoga, any kind of action, no action that can produce freedom. Action to produce a result. The result can be in the most improvement, a betterment of the body-mind complex. You keep doing things to get better, more refined, more purified, more subtle mind and body. And then in that process, you come to Vedanta with a prepared mind. Okay, so you can, right from the beginning, put in perspective that all yoga serves the purpose to prepare people to Vedanta. And then you keep doing what you're doing.
Okay.
That moksha, freedom, or self-knowledge is only possible by the means of Jnana Yoga. And the best body of knowledge and the best Jnana Yoga there is, the most complete and extensive and sophisticated, is presented by Vedanta, the Upanishads.
Okay.
Arlindo, I used to, for many years, teach transcendental meditation. And there was a very regimented way to teach. We covered certain points at certain times during the instruction. And I've just come to realize that transcendental meditation is just stress release technique of the mind. And so I don't feel any more, I just cut out those parts of the teaching that talk about enlightenment.
Yeah.
I just don't deal with that, because I think most people who want to do things like meditation or other techniques like Claudio's providing, they're not necessarily wanting to go all the way for moksha.
Yeah.
But you can be sort of a caretaker, you can be a caregiver in a sense by helping them with their mental ease.
Yeah.
Just to help them get a more sattvic mind through these disciplines. But you don't have to sell it as enlightenment.
Yeah, yeah. First, because a lot of people are not interested in moksha. And second, because people will not be qualified for moksha. But the other side of this is that people tend to tell me that if they don't bring in these implied meanings that people can gain enlightenment or freedom by the means of those techniques, it does not sell as good. And that's where people compromise, you understand?
Mm.
So, but you can sell it for what it is. I had a friend in São Paulo when I moved to Brazil 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And she learned about Ramji. Ramji sent her to me, and she was on fire. And she had a yoga studio, and then she was so crazy about it that she started introducing Vedanta during the yoga class to her students. And I was warning her. I was saying, "Watch out! You're gonna lose your clients. You're mixing up things here. You know, don't start present them Vedanta and moksha, you know, and so on." Because they did not sign up for that. They sign up to just do their exercise and so on and leave it that way. And but at the same time, it's almost impossible that you don't refine the delivery or whatsoever you do now, and by incorporating this knowledge of Vedanta. So that's the invitation, Claude. You can plant some seeds of Vedanta here and there.
Yes, because it's normal that with these new notions, when I talk, it comes out from me. It comes out naturally some Vedanta notions. But I always say till now, I always say to the person, like you said, I do this. I always say, we talk about the mind. We talk about preparing the mind. We don't talk about enlightenment here. So I always say that, like.
And if you want to be fully transparent and honest, never forget to disclose the source. Just say this is my knowledge, because people tend to spell out all this knowledge, you know, pretending that they are so smart that they, you know.
Yes.
Came up with this. Just let them know it's not mine. It's Vedanta.
Yes.
T-shirt. You hear that? Huh?
Yes. Okay. It's good to stay in alignment with what I'm learning now, and with what I talk to people.
You're gonna find your balance. You're gonna find your balance.
Yeah.
Just stay honest too and transparent.
Yeah.
So
it was always.
Karen, long time I don't hear from you. How are you?
Yes. Oh, doing good.
Yeah.
Things have been busy here, and I'm looking forward to spring and having things slow down so I can focus more on, you know.
It's still snowing there?
It's been melting down. We actually got some rain. It's been warm, so we've gotten a little rain, which is melting the snow. But
I see. Okay. Do you have anything you'd like to contribute, Karen? Any word?
Let's see. I liked, you know, we're just trying to stay in a sattvic mind, just around, you know, the whole coronavirus scare, you know. And I just had a startle this morning when I found out my husband, someone in his office is sick. And so I may have been exposed. And so I'm having trouble.
But the person was not tested positive yet on the virus.
Been tested, and she's self-quarantined and she's staying home, but.
Oh, she has the virus. She contracted the virus.
she's been sick.
She may,
And she's
yeah.
been
Yeah.
tested and it hasn't come back because it takes many days.
I see.
But he's been working with her closely and exposed. So, you know, I've been exposed if she's positive, and now I'm,
Right.
you know, I'm thinking I probably better cancel my massage clients today
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's the
Better.
responsible thing to do. So I just
Absolutely.
found that out just before we came on. So, but it's, you know, like Claudia was saying, it's, you know, we can't control this, and just to go, okay, this is something, you know, we're dealing with on a global perspective here, and we can't control the outcome.
Mm.
So we just can act
Right.
responsibly.
Yeah, we can do our small part, and that would be a smart move, you know, not to work until you know for sure.
Yes, yes. So anyway, it's such a balance of, you know, like you're saying, the fear factor. Don't let that take over, and just accept. But
Yeah,
then
I
there's
mean, this
fear
thing
of,
is
oh,
changing.
yeah,
This thing is changing our lives, and it's going to change big time, you know. There will be
yes.
a lot of repercussions economically, socially, and so on. It's big. It's really big. I have a good doctor, a naturopath doctor, has been warning me even before I left Italy that what to do, what not to do, and be prepared because this is going to get ugly. He told me, and I was thinking the guy's tripping, you know.
Oh,
And I see that it may get really ugly, you know.
so are you in Italy now? Or
No,
you're
I'm in Brazil, in
oh,
the
you're in Brazil. Okay.
northeast of Brazil. I came to visit my son and his family, my granddaughter.
Oh, before the whole virus.
Well, I left Brazil. The virus was going on, and it was a little bit strange because I was having a flu. I went to my doctor twice, and she said, "Don't worry, no, this is a flu. You're having a flu." I said, "Okay." And then I came to Brazil. And then when my seminar began, I was already over with the symptoms of my flu. But I was a little bit like that because these notions were growing. I mean, the whole news was growing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then my wife was meant to come on the 5th. In the last moment, we decided that she should not come because of the risk of getting infected in the plane and the risk of having the virus and take it over, bring it over here, you know.
Okay.
Now she's there. She's locked down in Bergamo, which is the epicenter, you know, of the whole Italy, the big.
Oh.
Yeah. So she's there. She's. I mean, I just got a message from her, Claudia, as we are starting here. She said that she cannot have the walking anymore. No walks anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, like me, I cannot also. I cannot go
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
I'm lucky because I have my grandfather that you know, it was ill. It was a long time in the hospital. Now he's home, and the doctor make me a certificate that I can go. So I
Yeah.
can go out. I can buy things. I can go there. So but
You can go.
normally
I mean,
now,
Silva. Maybe I made a mistake to push her to do so much grocery shopping, because otherwise she could go and buy a little bit every day. It would give her the excuse to go every day. But the least she gets exposed, the better, you know, as well.
I think it's good to go out a little bit. So to have shopping, if you take care, if you have how it's called in English, the masquerade.
Yeah.
So it's cool. I think it's okay if you're. I think it's good to go out a little bit.
When I came here, I tried my best to do a test in São Paulo. I went to the best hospital in São Paulo, very massive, you know. And in the end, they did not do because I did not have the symptoms.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a question of money only. I would pay so that I could come here with more peace of mind for my son.
Yeah.
But no, I said, we don't do that. No matter how much you want to pay for, we need to keep these kits, you know, for people who have the symptoms.
I don't know why it is like this, but I think it is
It is
strange.
because the whole system is collapsing in Italy. They don't have enough resources. to take care of people. They don't have enough beds. They don't have enough anything. Doctors. So they have to keep the resource for people who really need it, not curious me before. Oh, no,
Yeah.
visit my family. And, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are all in the hands of the Lord. The Lord
Yes.
to
Exactly.
play itself out, and then we may talk about that in a few years in retrospective.
Yeah.
So anybody else? Ruth? How are you, Ruth? You back in?
Hi.
You're back there in Carbondale?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I spent 2 months in the desert,
Yeah.
and my husband developed some health issues. So what happened is everything changed, and I had to become a lot more at home. So in a way, I feel like the desert prepared me for this. I think this shows us our interconnectedness and our lack of control. We're not in control of any of it.
Yeah.
And the stock market's down another 2,000 points today. You know, it's just a total reworking of worldwide things. And I just pray daily, you know, all the time, as Ishvara wills, you know, thy will be done, and put myself in the hands of God. So
Yeah.
that's my prayer.
Yeah. I mean, that's not, it's a trust. You know, I often say that when we understand Ishvara in our relationship with everything else and Ishvara, we don't to ask things. We pray to say thanks to the Lord. You know, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we all need this. We all need to quiet ourselves and, you know, to go inward and to see what's really important in our lives and to live by those principles. So I'm so thankful for this group, because it's good to come together with like-minded individuals to reinforce ourselves.
Totally. Yeah.
I'm
I hope now that I won't be traveling, that we don't skip any Mondays, and I will make no mistakes with the time as well.
Well, that's America, right? We got to be different. Yeah.
I can go and Google and say current time in. Should have
Well,
done that.
Lynn figured it out. It was Dave and me, and I don't know, Karen, if you did too. We weren't so smart. So
yeah, Dave.
Thank you, Orlando.
Okay, Lynn.
I'm glad you weren't being held hostage somewhere.
Yeah. So now it's giving me. I'm going to be in Brazil, and I'm going to go back to São Paulo, and I will be doing a weekend, Saturday and Sunday in São Paulo, and then some people invite me to Rio to do another. So I'm gonna be playing my Vedanta.
Good.
That's
good.
Yeah. What else to do?
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, everybody. I go downstairs because I told my son to come here, and then at the time changed, and then I told him to be in the playground with my granddaughter in the pool. They're waiting for me, so they are playing there. I'm gonna go join them.
You look suntan.
Yes, it's the sun here is cruel. It's cruel, you know.
Yeah.
Take the sun direct, but indirect is enough.
Bye.
Okay, guys. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
I have recorded our meeting. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.